Hello, I'm here to talk about stuff. I saw a video on YouTube of a guy doing a similar thing, and I realized this could be a good way for me to kind of chart where I am and also practice vulnerability. I've been on quite the emotional journey, being who I am and losing my first love and girlfriend and future wife, hopefully, to suicide. Her name was Io. She died by suicide in 2 Christmases ago, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. And that's just some context, but I want to talk about where I am in the healing journey, which is I got out of shock fairly recently, even though it's been 2 years. I'm still only very recently starting to get out of shock. And I've gotten pretty good, I'd say, at being sad. Just like being able to feel sad and angry and a lot of the stuff. But the challenge right now is the guilt that comes with being around it, being close to her and losing her. And the way out of that is to learn to love yourself, which is something I didn't begin to understand until recently. Which, if you know me, may seem surprising because I'm really great at loving other people. And I think I'm pretty kind. But I realize that I'm not gonna go anywhere if I can't. Like, I'm not gonna continue to progress in my grief and in processing the death and all of that until I confront the guilt that I've been running from and bending to the whole time. You know, she died when I was 16. I was still a little kid, still young. So it's not fair to blame myself for it. And I know that, and yeah. I the other night I had a bit of a realization where I was trying to get over an insecurity around dating and just having partners that like has persisted in my mind since I started having a girlfriend, of just like what other people think of us and like if it's cringe or like just general insecurity about being vulnerable to someone else, and how my like worth is kind of dependent on it. And I trace that back to when I was like little, hanging out with my friends, and like stuff we would say, and it's like not their fault, you know, it's just typical, you know, you're groomed since you're a child as a man to like bear your feelings and be like emotionally fucked up, whatever. But in this realization, I couldn't just know this, because just intellectualizing something doesn't actually help you heal. Or like it's a step, but that's not the ultimate how you heal, you know? And so I was like, I need to love myself. And I'd always had a hard trouble with that. But then I started crying a lot, and I thought of one moment where me and my friends went to Aya's vigil after she died. It's one of the few memories I have in that time frame. And Brady, who is normally very emotionally unavailable, hugged me, and like we like cried in each other's arms at the vigil. And I realized that was a moment where I was fully letting someone else love me and care for me. And I realized that I had these walls that have been around since I was a kid, since I was younger maybe. These walls that didn't let people love me, or I didn't let myself be loved fully. I wouldn't accept it. I would, you know, let them hug me and take care of me or whatever, but I had these walls that stopped me from being fully comforted by it. And that was like a huge realization to that. I have been missing out on so much of life and loving other people because I haven't been letting them fully, or letting myself fully experience their love. And at that point, when me and Brady were at the vigil, I was so sad and emotionally beat down that the walls came down for once. And I sort of recognize this and use that feeling of letting Brady take care of me and love me, who's one of my best friends. I love Brady. He's in Ireland right now. I use that to do it for myself, and in my mind, visually, it's played out as whenever I'd go back to those times when the insecurities were being built and they were forming, I would imagine my older ideal self coming down and just being like, extending that feeling of love and just saying it's okay. And I've started to do that with everything. And I've started to let people love me. It's not easy. The walls still are there. I still have to break them down every time, but you know, it's better than the alternative. Shout out Brady. He's real for that. Feels kind of surreal to hear yourself say I love you to yourself. Like being like, I love myself, I love you, Ethan. It's weird. It's a weird feeling. And it shouldn't be. I feel like it should be completely normal. I mean, if you've talked to me about empathy and these kinds of things, you know that I love everybody. I mean everybody. And I think it shows. And it's crazy how for so long I wasn't able to love myself. And I don't know exactly where it comes from. It's probably a combination of being a man or being raised as a man, and maybe some generational trauma from my parents who grew up in Jehovah's Witness, because God knows that was fucked up. It's a fucking bee. Okay, chill. Yeah. I may record this again. Might not. I feel like I should post it, but we'll see.